are some cheat codes for interacting with certain animals? Story 1. Dogs will defend their territory but will almost always avoid fighting if you find them outside their territory. If you run into one on the street, his policy will be not to bother you if you don't bother him. If a dog is actually having a go at you, it's because you're near something he owns or otherwise values. In this situation, don't just run away. It's his instinct to chase you. Instead, back away showing your side but not your rear. This indicates that you're not interested in fighting him but that you're prepared to defend yourself if you have to. For best results, find something to shove in his mouth to block bites. Remember, a wagging tail means excitement, and the difference between playful excitement and dangerous excitement is in how stiff and straight the tail is while it wags. Edit 0. Because people keep asking, a floppy tail is a friendly tail. Edit 1. Here, a great guide to handling dog attacks courtesy of Doberwoman. Story 2. Most cats don't like lots of eye contact, because they see it as a sign of aggression. Some don't mind, but it depends how domesticated they are. If you're trying to get a cat to come to you, glance at their eyes, then look away. This is also why cats always go to the person who's allergic or dislikes them. You think you're ignoring them by not looking at them, they think you're friendly. Edit as people keep saying it. Yes, the slow blink or looking at them with squinty eyes also works and is non-aggressive. If you have staring contests with your cat, it means it knows you well enough to know you're not threatening. Enough with the cat's women jokes already. Story 3. With horses you can blow gently into their nostrils. It's supposedly horseish for saying hi to other horses they like, and if it likes it will blow back and be chill. Have tried it a few times, and they seem to like it, but who knows, it's horses. Edit 1 has pointed out, front part of horse is dangerous, so don't run up and try to inflate unknown horses' noses. Be chill with horse bros, and see you ready. Set your best comment. Edit 2. Horses are 400 to 600 kilograms of pure muscle, bones, hooves and teeth, and as all animal they can be unpredictable. If you are not accustomed to being around horses and read their body language, you should be very careful approaching a horse, and putting your face in reach of their teeth is not recommended. The comments have many great tips on how to behave around horses from people knowing a whole lot more about horses than I do. And am learning so many interesting things. Horses are super cool animals, but as all animals should be treated with respect. Story 4. If attacked by a shark, punch them firmly in the snout. If that doesn't work, poke him in the eye with your stump. Edit didn't know the source, I do now. Credit to Robert Schimmel. Story 5. Scratch a dog where its back legs can't reach. Keep scratching until its eyes begin to close, then move to the stomach and hips. Their legs will start kicking automatically, and it's hilarious. Also, you'll become that dog's best friend. Story 6. Leave giant birds the alone. Would you pet a pea-brained, angry dinosaur? No. Why they put ostriches, emus, rheas, etc. in petting zoos is a mystery to me. These guys can quickly injure you and there is no single quick tip in dealing with them. Story 7. Grew up around a lot of animals, so flies always jump essentially straight up and forward as you go to slap them, and they're faster than you. Clap above them about 6 inches to compensate. Ever try to catch a frog? Same thing. Get behind them, lean over, and be ready to catch 6 inches to a foot ahead of them as they jump away. If you need to pick up a turtle, approach from the rear and grab it on the sides of its shell, warning it will pee on you and scratch while trying to reach around and bite you. Generally, they can't bite past their front legs. Crabs are the same tactic. Approach from the rear, and pinch in the center rear, grab them by the butt. They'll squirm and stretch, but they can't get you. Always keep your hand on a horse, so they know where you are. Goats headbutt to establish dominance. Pecking order. Square up to them, hold your ground, and let them headbutt the heel of your boot. They're going to hit pretty hard, so be ready. As you're essentially kicking them in the top of the head, you won't hurt them. They're literally designed for it. When you don't budge, they know who's boss. I've done this since I was 8 or 10, but it's easier the bigger you are. Smaller dog thinks he's the boss coming after you guests. Do what the pack leader does. Grab him by the scruff, push his head down, roll him, and hold him by the neck, bare your teeth and stare at him. If he's still freaking, you can hold him as long as necessary. Almost all of the time, they stop immediately. This is how dogs win fights. Kicking, hitting, smacking dogs is not something they understand and is just plain abusive and likely to make them even more aggressive. Doesn't work on big dogs, too much potential to actually be hurt. In dog packs, alpha eats first, humans should eat first, dog gets food after human dinner is over. If you're feeding your dog before yourself, you send quite a message. Cat claws only work one way, if they're latched to your clothes, or you pull them forward to release. This is why cats can't climb down trees headfirst and get stuck on occasion. Snakes are easily distracted by motion. Wiggle the left hand far out while you grab the tail with the right, and start walking away. Watch almost anyone working with snakes. You'll see them do similar, obviously. Avoid touching snakes at all costs unless you know what it is and what you're doing. Ever lose a hamster mouse? Take a steep bowl or low bucket, and stack books around it like a little spiral staircase. Put some peanut butter on a cracker and a small dish of water in the bottom. They'll be in there scratching to get out before you know it. Don't mess with birds, even canaries, just don't. Don't approach deer and similar horned wild animals. Generally, they run away before you get the chance. If they don't, chances are they're guarding babies or territory. They're very good guards. Story 8. If you're being attacked by an alligator and you have a gun, aim it in the mouth before pulling the trigger, because if you try to shoot yourself any other way, you're likely to miss. Story 9. If you can pick up a chicken, Hold its head under one of its wings, then rock it like a baby for a minute, then put it in the ground and it will be asleep. You can also put them in a trance by holding their beak against the ground and drawing a line out from their beak with your finger. When you let go of their head, they just kind of stare at the ground with their head down. Fat fingers. Little buttons. Story 10. Dolphins love children crazy amounts, so if you're going to go swimming with them or feed them, bring a child. When boxing with a kangaroo, they usually lack the strategy to do more than interchange punching arms, so you can easily use this to your advantage. If you spray a spider with hairspray deodorant, then it won't be able to move it. You can beat it to death easier. Story 11. With dogs. Always let them smell the back of your hand when you approach them. Never go straight for the pat on the head. Some dogs see this as a threat and will become aggressive. Letting them smell the back of the hand lets them know you're cool. Story 12. If you scratch a cat right above its tail, but scratches, it can do some weird things. I've seen but scratches make a cat make those weird talking noises. And then I saw a cat who feverishly licked his own chest. Story 13. If a ferret tries to bite you, scruff it like a cat does a kitten, while gently supporting its bum. Hold it like that for long enough, and it should settle, and yawn will require repeating. When patting cats, try to scratch underneath the chin and work up, instead of going straight for the over-the-head pat. It makes you appear much more friendly and less dominant. Many rabbits will enjoy a pat and a head scratch, instead of being picked up. But if you do, best to have one hand around its shoulders, and use the other to scoop it up from behind so you quickly have it on its back in your arms, for paws up. If done correctly and quickly enough, they'll sort of just lie there, looking half asleep. Some prefer the tuck its head right under your chin method, so they feel supported everywhere, i.e. not only supporting legs, but held around their sides, their head and their back. If you wriggle your fingers in front of an aquarium, fish will swim to your worm-like hands. Birds have trust issues. Quick edit. Holding a bunny. If you don't know the rabbit, and if you don't know what you're doing, best to not pick it up at all, because they are both strong enough to hurt you, and fearful enough to kill themselves trying to get away. Edit 2. Holding a rabbit upside down induces a stress response that makes them freeze. Girl 289. Obviously not ideal for cuddling, but I have found it useful when I need to do a quick relocation. Edit 3. Wormy Ninja edit. Story 14. If you're allergic to cats, try to show them you're interested, but keep your body language to them. They tend to focus uninterested people because you're relaxed and seem like a cool guy. Source: have an allergy to cats, and every time I ignore them they come at me, brah. Story 15. Cockatoos can be very friendly. If you have one's attention, soft clicking clucking noises and small head bobs will often result in them dancing and imitating you. Be careful or they might land on your head or shoulders, which has happened to me. Story 16. If you own black Labrador, feed it to the point of obesity, attach black flippers to its legs and then smear Vaseline all over its coat. You now have a pet seal. Story 17. Been waiting years for this question. Easy way to keep a bear from mauling you. Do not try to a hibernating bear. Source: Lonely Park Ranger. Edit: this is my top comment double edit update. Okay, so I got some PMs with suggestions on how to best sedate a bear to make it easier to manipulate. Weird because it's kinda my job, but heckin' giving it a shot. Thanks you Uniden. Story 18. Never ever put your hand out to a parrot unless you understand parrot body language or the S-handler is available. For what it's worth, I have a Congo African Grey, and she can break chicken bones with her beak. Never look at a parrot with both eyes. When a parrot's belly feathers flutter, they are very relaxed. If a parrot's head feathers are down but the rest of them are up, you are in moderate danger. If a parrot's back feathers are up, you are in grave danger. Parrots are sneaky, manipulative little buggers. Whatever they are doing, bear in mind that it might be a trap. Yelling at a parrot will only make them yell back. Also, they love drama. If you yell at them, they will repeat the behavior so that you will yell again. Edit: I have been answering everybody that's responded, and have really enjoyed your sneaky parrot stories. I wanted to elaborate a bit on why you shouldn't look at parrots with both eyes. They will feel threatened. Also, I removed an apostrophe. Story 19. Never try to get near a herd of sheep in the wild, because sheepdogs are quite protective. That being said, if you ever have to walk through a herd of confined sheep without making them shy away, walk backwards through the herd. They will calmly stream around both sides of you. Why? Because sheep are very stupid creatures. Story 20. Water buffalo. Extend your arm and hand out with index and pinky fingers out and hum to yourself. The buffalo will roll over and fall asleep. Source: Crocodile Dundee. Story 21. If you cough loudly and the cow's ears don't twitch much, it's a good sign that the heifer is concentrating on a good hand. It's wise to come with a bluff or fold if you have a weak hand at this point. Note: for a bull, the answer is reversed. If you cough loudly and the bull's ears don't twitch much, it's a good sign that the bull is preparing to charge. Story 22. Saltwater crocodiles do not interact. Do not even think about interaction. If they can possibly get to where you are, stay the away from the water. There are no cheat codes. There is only death. I have lost 2 friends to crocodiles when I was living in Darwin, NT. Story 23. Throw a peanut at a squirrel. He might get scared, but then he will check it out and eat it. Throw peanuts closer and closer to you one at a time, waiting for the squirrel to find each one and come back. Make a noise every time he picks up and eats the peanut. Eventually you can get the squirrel to take a peanut next to your hand, without your hand moving. Keep making your sound and throw the peanut in front of you and hold it. Try not to get bit by the nervous squirrel. Works with other animals too. Story 24. Not really into but might help. If your dog runs away from you, run on the opposite direction and get their attention. They will come back to you. Sometimes you will get other people dogs too. Edited for clarify. Story 25. Treat animals like children. They will simultaneously trust you and respect you. Treat children like adults. Every child wants validation, and doing this teaches them their thoughts and feelings actually matter. Be socially awkward around adults, because you're not sure how to scale this up further. But realize it doesn't matter because most adults are too self-centered to notice and will like you because you listen to them ramble, and the others are kind enough to notice what you're doing and respond appropriately. Cheat code for all social interactions. Story 26. I remember this one day when my friend came over to my house. We were about 10, and we decided we would have some fun with my two dogs, a Saint Bernard and a Husky. We both tried to see if we could figure out dog language and see what certain words mean to dogs. We got a notepad and a pen and we went and sat in front of my dogs. We started saying random dog sounds to them, such as woof and bow wow and arf and stuff like that to see how they reacted. I remember they started running around, and we said bow wow and they stopped dead in their tracks. We looked at each other. We now knew bow wow meant stop. Another time, we tried arf and they started jumping up to us. We now knew arf meant jump. This carried on for so long, and eventually we tried to piece words together to talk to the dogs in full sentences. We thought we had finally figured out dog language. Now, I think about it and have a chuckle, but back then when we were 10, it was the most scientific thing ever. Story 27. Late to the party as usual. Here are some things I've learned working at different zoos. If you don't know an animal, don't immediately reach for its face to pet it. It will probably bite you. I had this happen with camels, dogs and cats a couple times. Elephants will hurt you on accident if you're not careful. Also, they love food. Then there are some of them that just want to kill things people. One of my supervisors told me a story about an old circus elephant that would leave a small pile of food out for rats and then kill them when they came to eat it. Giraffes are pretty dumb, but super alert. Any small changes will put them on high alert and make them pretty antsy. The ones I worked with weren't very big on being pet. We had one that would let you do it, but you had to constantly feed her most big hoofstock bongos. Elands, gazelle, etc. are super skittish as they are prey animals, so don't expect to pet them unless they've been trained hand-raised. I guess those aren't really hacks though. Hey, race a couple. I do know you can talk to tigers by chuffing at them. I'm really bad at it, but I have gotten a couple of chuffs. I have not gotten this one to work, but you can get kookaburras to call back to you by rolling your RS. FYI, this one makes you look insane, especially when they don't respond to you lorikeets like shiny things. So if you go into a free flight cage with them, don't bother buying food because you can usually get them to land on you by flashing your bling. Beware, they will try to take anything shiny and sometimes will try to pick of moles. Also, they like to lick you if you sweat a lot. Big birds freak me out, but I found that if you remain calm they will usually be pretty chill. I was terrified the first time an emu came up to me to eat some food and dropped the food bucket. That didn't go so well. If you ever find yourself being attacked by a kangaroo, try to grab it behind the neck and force it down to the ground. This way they won't be able to kick you if you're being attacked by larger hoofstock deer, goats, llamas, etc. I found that using your dad voice usually deters them from continuing. That's really all I got. I'll add on if I think of any more. Story 28. I hope this doesn't get buried cause it works and it's really cool. If you see a herd of deer grazing in a field and you want to get close to them, do not approach them like a hunter would, eyes fixed on them and moving slow. Instead, do what they do and keep your eyes on the ground, milling in a zigzag pattern while pretending to search the ground. They'll think you're a grazer like them and not a threat. Of course, be extremely cautious when you get close, as anything threatening can turn the pack into a stampede of hooves. And I don't advise this at all, but it is a cheat code that I've seen work. Source him from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where there are more deer per square foot than rats in New York City. Story 29. Clamping a cat's neck will render them immobile. This is an automatic response used when they are kittens being carried in their mother's mouth. Story 30. Ears, nose, and lips are all huge communication centers for horses. This is a relaxed horse. Even though we can't see the nose and lips, we can tell just from the ears and position of the head that this horse is chillin'. Ears are relaxed and turned to the sides, and the head is lowered. This is a content but alert horse. Ears are forward, listening intently, but nose and lips are relaxed, indicating there is no threat. He probably sees someone he likes coming toward him, or maybe he caught the scent of a friend on the wind. This is a cranky horse. His head is lowered like the relaxed horse, but his head is thrust forward. This isn't a relaxed position. This is a position to protect the jugular in anticipation of being the first to attack. His ears are rotated back, his nostrils are elongated, and his lips are tight. This is an angry horse. Ears are pressed back against the neck, nostrils are flared, lips are pulled back, baring the teeth. Also, one thing that really annoys me about Hollywood is that they put in too many sound effects for horses, and the ones they do include don't match up with what the horses are doing. Horses are prey animals and therefore don't make a lot of noise. This is a snort. This sound is used to tell other horses, and in this case, the owners, that the horse is calm. The horse is displaying with his face that he's cranky, but the sound says he just wants his food and he's not actually going to bite anyone. This is a horse calling to another horse. Headphone warning loud. Horses are extremely social animals, and when separated from each other, they use this loud call to communicate. Basically he's saying, hey, I am okay. Are you okay too? This is the all caps of the equine world. Notice that his whole body goes into the effort of the neigh. His nostrils get huge, his mouth opens, his head is held high and ears pressed forward, and you would be able to see his whole chest expand in contract with the force of the neigh. If the video was shot a little wider, another noise they make is called a nicker, and is kind of like a good morning, now feed me kind of noise. When fighting, horses will often squeal, headphone warning, which is expertly filmed by this idiot guy chasing two raging stallions. I hope you learned something about horses. Story 31. If you do end up being attacked by a dog, offer your forearm. Do this because not only will you be able to control the position of the dog so it doesn't bite a more dangerous area, but if the dog has latched on, use your free arm to push the back of its head into the bitten arm while pushing your bitten arm further back into the dog's mouth. This will make the dog let go. Edit words. Story 32. Dogs have very different personalities. If your dog is disobedient, take it on a walk somewhere far away where it hasn't been before, remove its leash and drive away. Go buy a new dog, repeat this process until you get an obedient one. Story 33. When humans approach hippogriffs, a proper etiquette must be maintained to avoid danger. Hippogriffs are intensely proud creatures, and an individual must show proper respect by bowing to them, and waiting for them to bow in return before approaching. Eye contact should be maintained at all times, without a single blink. The hippogriff should be allowed to make the first move as this is polite. If offended, it may attack. Hippogriffs are tameable, but only by experts in their care such as Rubeus Hagrid, care of magical creatures professor and gamekeeper at Hogwarts. Story 34. Mirror with a hole in it so you can take pictures and video of primates looking at themselves. Bring a comb to the aquarium to get dolphins' attention. Scratch it on the glass so it makes that buzzing sound. Story 35. If you ever see a horse yawning, try to touch its nose right between the nostrils. This forces the horse to yawn again. You can repeat this process indefinitely. Story 36. There is a specific dog laugh that signals to other dogs that it's playtime. If you are around a dog who isn't too tired or in any distress, making this sound will get them hyped up and into play mode. The laugh is actually a kind of short, repeated pant with a soft rolling jaw, sound like you're stuttering trying to say something in Spanish like jalapenos. It's very similar to the "oh these fries are too hot and they are burning my mouth but I can't spit them out so I'm going to make a weird panting noise to try and cool my mouth down" sound. If you do that and gently slap your hands down on the ground or on an object nearby, or you bob your head like a cockatoo once or twice, then it's on like Donkey Kong. Story 37. If an axolotl is seeming uninspired by food, feeding it live worms will re-excite it, and give it a whale of a time. Edit worms used to say works, whoops. Story 38. If you are going to shoot a grizzly bear, file the sight off of the barrel of the gun. This way, after you shoot it, it will hurt less when the bear shoves the gun up your. Story 39. Hay race, a cheat code for avoiding a fight when a particularly aggressive member of the mysterious species known as humans approaches you. Story 40. If you are at the zoo, try jingling your car keys to get some animals to come to you. They associate the noise with their caretaker unlocking their cage to feed them and they will come running. Works well on otters. Story 41. If a puppy likes to nibble at fingers, stick your whole hand in their mouth till they get annoyed. I guarantee they will stop because it pisses them off. Story 42. Horses and humans have similar tastes when it comes to treats. They often like sugar cubes, dried fruit, and even jelly beans. Like humans, they shouldn't have a lot of sugary treats in their diet, but it's a great way to bond if you're meeting a horse for the first time or visiting a stable. Give a horse a few little treats and he'll remember you in a positive light. If you're trying to put a bridle on a horse and it won't let you, hold a little treat on your palm under the bit. He'll open his mouth to get the treat and voila, you can get the bridle on. There's also a part of their gums toward the back of their mouth where there's no teeth, and if you put your finger there they'll usually open their mouth if you don't have any treats. I prefer to give them treats, haha. Also, if you have to walk behind a horse, don't just jump behind it. One of horses' blind spots is right behind their butts, and they don't like being surprised by people in that area. If you're walking around behind a horse, put your hand on its side, and slide your hand around in front of you along its back so basically your hand will start out next to you and end up on the other side before you do so the horse can feel where you are. Also, if the horse tries to kick backwards when your hand starts to move behind it, you know not to even try to go around that way. Horse kicks hurt. Oh, and my favorite, if you're petting a horse, try gently tickling right behind the soft part of his chin, right where the soft part under the lip meets the rest of his head. I've found most horses will start making really funny faces when I pet them there. It's adorable. Story 43. Black bears, very timid creatures actually. They don't understand they can rip you to shreds and behave like weaker creatures. If you see one rooting through your garbage, go scream at them and be loud about it, and following them a little as they run away will get the point across that they shouldn't come back and they usually won't. This trick has never failed me. I know little kids who do this. However, if they have cubs, back the off, they will go after you with a vengeance. If you ever come face to face with a black bear who is aggressive, they will do a sort of stomp forward to you that will make you think he's about to charge. Don't show fear and fight the urge to begin running away. Don't bother. They will outrun you. This is a bear's way to test you. Walk away like you don't give a. If you got a big time bear problem on your property, or a lot of the time bears and other creatures will mark territory usually by ripping up trees. You'll know it when you see it. Not a joke. Get spit, sweat, or on this spot. Fish, catfish absolutely love Cheez-Its. A good way to easily catch cat is to go right after dusk to a dock where it's the warmest with light and throw Cheez-Its in the water and then throw a net. If you plan on going fishing, don't brush your teeth for a day or eat something pungent, then spit on your bait. This trick works extremely well. It's easy to spit on bait all day long. Don't go noodling. Snapping turtles will take a hand off. Try not to get involved with a snapping turtle. They are creatures whole fight easily. They can take a hand or foot off in one bite, and they run extremely fast. Don't pick it up at all. The neck can actually stretch up and round its shell. If you absolutely insist on fishing for snapping turtles, use large alligator hooks with chicken wings, with big steel line, and try at a swamp. Just put it out there in the afternoon and come back in the early morning when they feed the most 3, 4, 5 am. Let them in a bucket for a couple of days and then shoot them in the head with a .22 deer. If you're driving and a deer jumps out in the street or is off to the side, lay on your horn. This will spook them. Keep blowing the horn for a good distance because more times than not they actually run in packs. Snakes. The only good trick I got about snakes is if they're a problem where you are, they are the weakest when they are soaking up the sun. Do something about them then. Let a snake lick you before picking it up. Non-poisonous only though, never let a poisonous snake lick you. Story 44. I was trying to impress a girl who had a very antisocial dog, so I wiped bacon grease on the bottoms of my jeans. Well, hello there, little feller, you're a friendly one. Story 45. Macaques. Large parrots. They are incredibly intelligent but are not domesticated. They are a wild animal, so they have no innate desire to behave or do what you ask. They're smart enough to understand what they're supposed to and not supposed to do, but the other side of the coin is they also have the intelligence to decide not to do what you ask them. Biting. Let the bite and pick it up anyway. It will soon realize biting carries no advantage and they will stop doing it, particularly if paired with neg reinforcement. I hold on to the S-beak and say no very sternly. They find this extremely annoying and quickly realize biting will only inconvenience themselves. Note: some birds like to be left alone while napping, eating, waking up in the morning, etc. So I don't feel it's right to pick my up when I know he doesn't like it. I call that setting them up to fail. They are wild animals, so it's unreasonable to expect them to behave perfectly 100 of the time. I don't think it's fair to bring a wild animal into my home and punish it all the time for being wild, but if it is biting to the point it's not easy to handle them in general, that's a problem that needs correcting. It's a detriment to the S safety if it can't be handled or if it gets extremely stressed whenever it's handled. Screaming. Perhaps the needs food or water or wants to be with you. Make sure that has food and water available to it all the time and don't give it food when it screams. That only teaches it screaming is the way to get food. If the screams for attention, take it farther away when it screams for a timeout. ILL. Learn screaming gets at the opposite of what it wants. Lavish attention if the is quiet or if it speaks for attention. I encourage speaking instead of screaming. Throwing food out of bowl. Don't keep refilling the bowl all day. Just fill it once a day and will immediately notice it needs to keep the food in the bowl so it has something to eat. Chewing. Perch. We kept replacing perches until my chewed through his while standing on it. He never chewed his perch again. TLDR. Birds need to know what's in it for them. If they do a neg behavior, react in the opposite way they expect. Want. Keep in mind birds are not a domesticated pet. They are at best a tamed wild animal.
Behavior will never be perfect.
Story 46. Cats love earwax. Stick your finger in your ear and poke it towards a cat and they absolutely love it. Just don't stick the same finger back in your ear. That'd be disgusting. Story 47. I spent way too long trying figuring out what all these comments had to do with being raised by blind parents. Evidently I accidentally clicked the wrong link. For a moment I thought I didn't understand Reddit again. Story 48. Black bears will almost always false charge if you get too close to them. Stand your ground and they will usually run away. I use the words almost always, and usually. Story 49. Legitimate advice. You can make any dog sit by poking them with your foot behind their hind knee. If you have a cat or dog that needs to take pills, but is a pain in the, pop the pill in their mouth, close their mouth shut, and blow hard in their nostrils. It causes them to gulp and forces them to swallow whatever is in their mouth. If you blink slowly at a cat, it lets them know you are comfortable with them. Never smile at a dog while making eye contact. You're basically showing that you're ready to attack. Story 50. Never put your face in a dog's face. Even if you think it's docile, there is a good chance, purely out of instinct, it will bite you. Going face to face with a dog is like challenging it for its. Story 51. No sudden movements around wasps, bees, or other hymenoptera. In fact, most are so non-aggressive when not around the nest. You touch them and nothing should happen except they move. If a wasp lands on you, slowly and gently brush it away and you should be okay. It should be mentioned that since you are talking about live creatures, nothing works all the time with each animal. Story 52. Never extend your fingers to a strange dog, even if the person says the dog doesn't bite. Q. Peter Sellers. It's not my dog. Instead, make a fist, with your thumb underneath the fingers, bend your hand downward and extend the top of your hand towards the dog. The smell is the same and you don't run the risk of losing fingers. Story 53. If you open your trash can and a squirrel leaps onto your chest, you can subdue both of you by beating yourself in the chest with a kitchen trash bag and screaming get off 'em, get off 'em, get off 'em, for the next 16 minutes. Also, you should recycle glass bottles because they hurt like when you're beating yourself in the chest with a kitchen trash bag. Story 54. If you want to know anything about chameleons, either ask me or go to chameleons. Handling a chameleon. Never pick up any lizard, namely the chameleon, from the back. Always try and slide your hand under their chin and lift up. Even if it wants to bite you, it will eventually accept and climb upwards. Feeding a chameleon. They like their food below them. Hand feed by placing the food in your palm if it's not a cricket or roach or anything that jumps or flies away, and it will most likely just eat right out of your hand. If not, don't make eye contact. They focus with both eyes on their prey, so imagine what it looks like to them to have a big giant thing staring at them. Be very still if they are uncomfortable around you, and they will eventually eat if they're hungry, getting them comfortable with you if possible. Never use a stick to take out your chameleon. Always use your hand to transport it between its favorite spot, sunbathing outside on your hand, using your hand to get to its big potted tree inside, etc. They will view your hand not only as a source of food but a source of transportation to its favorite activities. Chameleons' behavior: they turn dark when sick, upset, or cold. They turn bright when sleeping, trying to threaten, or nervous, etc. Story 55. If you're in the woods and want to get closer to, say, a non-threatening wild animal, usually deer, foxes, or other smallish mammals, get down on all fours. Most animals who live around a lot of hiking trails and camping areas have learned to recognize humans as those crazy animals on two legs. Crouch down on your hands and knees and the animals will be moderately confused and curious and will come check you out. It also makes you seem less threatening because you're small. Be silent and still and let them check you out. And if you're patient enough, you can gain their trust enough to pet them. If you keep doing this over a long period of time, eventually they'll recognize your scent and you can slowly stand up and they'll be so chill with it. It's worked with deer, wild horses, foxes, and a few other mammals with me. I wouldn't trust it on bears though. My older sister pet-sit a wolf once too, and that wolf and I became best buddies with that technique, but it was semi-domesticated.